reflection on interconnectedness. This is a practice that can be done in any posture. Just be relaxed. Be at ease. See if you can trace back all those involved in your interests and introspection. Someone who might have given you a book, read you a poem, or played you a piece of music, told you about their meditation experience. Let a sense of them, a recollection of them, come into the room with you. Consider including those who have really hurt you. Not just those who you find a little bit annoying, but someone whose actions have really brought you to a point where you've said, I've got to find another way to be happy. I have to look more deeply into life. After all, they're part of the big picture as well. Maybe you had a teacher who instilled a love of learning and a willingness to be adventurous. You may have had a parent who instilled confidence in your ability to try new things or explore new terrain. Maybe you've had a child who's opened you up to a sense of wonder and interest. Just let them be with you here now. What about the clothing that you're wearing? How many forms of life? How many people? And how many things have been involved in the growing of that fiber, creation of that cloth, transporting it, selling it, the creation of the building you're sitting in, or the caretakers of the plots of land if you're outside. All the forms of life involved in the food you've eaten today. The person who planted that seed and nurtured that crop. Who did the harvest, transported the food, sold the food, and prepared the food. You can see that none of us is actually independent, alone, or cut off, however alone we might feel sometimes. They're all a part of the most extraordinary fabric of life. the immense web of relationships and connections and influences. This tremendous web of interdependence. We arrive at this moment, born by a sea, an ocean of conditions. If we look at a tree, we can see it as just a tree, or we can look at a tree and sense the soil and everything that affects the quality of that soil nourishing the tree. The rainfall and everything affecting the quality of that rainfall. The sunlight and the moonlight. The quality of the air. Is the tree just a tree? Or the confluence of all these conditions coming together, moving and changing? And so too we can see ourselves. Meditate on seeing the good, even though our more habituated tendency might be to remember the things we've done wrong and the mistakes we've made, the things we regret. We can consciously shift our attention to include the good within ourselves and others. See if you can think of one good thing you did yesterday. It may not have been very big or grandiose. Maybe you smiled at somebody. Maybe you listened to them. Maybe you forgave yourself for not saying something totally correctly. Maybe you were generous. Perhaps you thanked a bus driver. It's not conceit or arrogance to consider these things. It's actually pretty nourishing and replenishing to take joy and delight in the good that lives through us, that we can manifest. If at any time, whether with ourselves or somebody else, we can't think of something good, then there's another reflection that we do, which is to recall that all beings want to be happy. Everybody wants to be happy. This urge towards happiness is nothing to be squeamish about or feel funny about. The problem is not the urge. The problem is ignorance. Not really sensing where genuine happiness might be found, and so making the mistakes that might cause so much suffering for ourselves or for somebody else. That urge towards happiness itself is rightful It's appropriate when we can combine it with wisdom instead of ignorance. It becomes like a homing instinct for freedom and can help us cut through many obstacles. We start with ourselves and then with others, looking for the good. If it's not going to happen that way, we switch to this other reflection, recalling that all beings want to be happy. Think of someone who's helped you. Here, their good qualities might come in a rush. You can appreciate that about them. Those aspects, those efforts, those acts of kindness. Think of a good friend. Appreciate the good within them. Think of someone you know who's having a difficult time right now. They're ill or hurting. Think of the good within them, the times they've reached out to help others, their own sources of strength. You can see that this person is something bigger. Think of someone you've had difficulty with, a conflict or unease. See if you can find some good reflected in things they've done and choices they've made. If not, you can switch to that other reflection, remembering that they too, just like each one of us, wants to be happy. They want to be happy. Everybody wants the same sense of belonging. Feeling at home in this body, this mind, and this life. Let's close with a few moments of the reflection that all beings want to be happy. May they be happy. You can silently repeat that over and over again. May they be happy.